Scot Lehigh grew up in Eastport, a city of just over 1,000 people on the far edge of down east Maine. From there, he went on to become a journalist, and for more than 30 years, he's been a reporter and columnist for the Boston Globe.
Now, Scot Lehigh has written his first work of fiction, a novel called Just East of Nowhere. It's about three teenagers trying to find their way in life. Even though he hasn't lived in Eastport since he was a young man, Scot Lehigh set the story there and still remembers what it was like when he was growing up.
There wasn't, honestly, an awful lot to do in Eastport. The big thing kids did before they could drive was you'd say, well, we're going to go out walking around. And you'd walk around town, you'd walk down on the breakwater to see who else might be out. You just walk the same route time and time again. Then you get a little older and you got a car, and then you would drive the same route. It was, I would say, a little claustrophobic, maybe.
So when you sat down to write a novel, why did you decide you were going to place it in Eastport?
Well, they always say write what you know, and I knew Eastport, I felt like, fairly well. I've always been intrigued by Eastport and Lubec, which sit just across the bay from one another. You can sit in Eastport and see the church steeples in Lubec, and I knew the community, and I wanted to get at some themes of choices, searching for identity, and in a sense that I think people have. I've lived in a lot of small towns of the conflict between staying and feeling like you need to go.
That is a theme that really comes out in Washington County. Do you stay? Do you go? Because for so long the opportunities there have been so limited that this is a choice that virtually everybody who grows up in Washington County has had to face.
Very much so. A lot of kids that I went to school, some of us went off to college, some of us went off to the military. There was quite a big, maybe a third of the class, as I recall, did that, and some stayed. And it was, you know, it's hard though. It's hard to leave a small community because sometimes you don't really, honestly feel like you have the skills. It's intimidating to go out in the world.
This is a different kind of work from your day job. You've been a journalist for many, many years, reporter and columnist for the Boston Globe. What was it like to be untethered by facts and be able to write with just your imagination as the wind in your sails?
It's really different because normally in our jobs you're watching a politician or something, you're trying to figure out what's really going on. As an author, you know what's going on, but you're trying a little bit to disguise it from the readers to make the story come together and work in a way where you don't put everything up front. So it's almost the reverse in a way of what you do on a day-to-day basis in my business.
Was it fun for you to write?
Yes, it was. Yeah, I love to write, and I love to read fiction. It's an enjoyable process, but I'm glad the writing and reworking of it is done.
There have been thousands of times in your life where you've written an article for the newspaper and you've seen your byline when it was published, and that's always kind of a cool feeling. What was it like when you held this book in your hand for the first time?
To be honest, kind of terrifying. You just find yourself, when you write an article, you a column, you know, you're essentially, you have a sense of how it will play, how it won't. Sometimes you write something you think is funny, other people don't. But it's not I'd say life and death, but it's not putting all of yourself out there. You do it a lot. And with this, it's a different product. This is a work of my imagination, and what are people going to think about it? And you worry a lot about that. I've spent a lot of waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning and tossing and turning for an hour and a half, and then, you know, before I fell back to sleep, saying, what is the reception going to be? Are people going to like it? Are they going to hate it? Is anyone going to, my friends in Eastport going to think it's awful? It's worrisome. But as I say, I've been gratified so far by the reaction to it. It's been quite positive. But it was both a sense of satisfaction with having it finally done and utter terror about what people would think of it.
Scot Lehigh now divides his time between Boston and Cape Elizabeth. Again, the name of his new novel is Just East of Nowhere.